All right, welcome everyone. My name is Sterling Higa, Chairperson of the Authority. I'd now like to call to order the January 7th, 2026 Kalaeloa Authority meeting of the Hawaii Community Development Authority. The time is now 11:25 a.m.
Thank you, Chair. In accordance with section 92-3.7 Hawaii Revised Statutes, the Hawaii Community Development Authority is holding today's Kalaeloa board meeting virtually on Zoom. The Zoom link details were included in the meeting agenda. Therefore, members of the public are welcome to join us on Zoom and also at our physical meeting site at the American Jewelry Building, 547 Queen Street, second floor, boardroom, Honolulu, Hawaii, 96813. The HCDA communications staff is hosting this meeting. Once this meeting begins, everyone will be muted for clearer audio. Board members, if you have any comments or questions, please unmute yourself to speak. It is important that all individuals clearly state their name, pseudonym, and other identifier name each time prior to speaking. If you wish to provide oral testimony and you're attending virtually, please indicate so by clicking the raise hand button found on your Zoom screen. If you are attending in person, you'll be called to the front of the room in the order that you signed up. Before you begin your testimony, we ask that you identify yourself and spell your name for the record. Your testimony must be related to an item on the agenda. All testimony will be limited to a maximum of 3 minutes. When time has elapsed, time will be called, but after which you will have 30 seconds to conclude your testimony, and then your audio will be turned off. If you're attending in person, the presiding officer will call the next testifier. Keep in mind that this is an opportunity to share your thoughts with us. If you ask questions during your testimony, neither the board nor staff is required to provide an answer. If the authority's connection for the remote meeting is lost, the meeting will be recessed until the connection is restored. If the connection cannot be restored within 30 minutes, the meeting will be terminated and the authority will continue the meeting on another notice date. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Before we proceed with the roll call, I'd like to introduce and welcome Ms. Ivalani Duvachel, our new Kalaeloa Business Community member. Welcome, Member Duvachel. HCDA board members, please remain visible and audible during the meeting, and please acknowledge you are present by either here or present. Let the record reflect that the following members are present. Vice Chair Ishii.
Here.
Thank you. Secretary Lidstone. We'll come back to Secretary Lidstone. Member Miranda Johnson.
Here.
Thank you. Member Anderson.
Here.
Thank you. Member Evans.
Here.
Thank you. Member Streitz.
Here.
Thank you. Member Gordner is excused, and Member Duvachel. Here. Thank you. And then we'll mark Secretary Lidstone as excused, and when she comes on, we'll acknowledge her present.
Chair.
Thank you much. For today's meeting, board members will have an opportunity to ask questions or provide comments after an agenda item has been presented. Individuals from the public who have requested to provide verbal public testimony on a specific agenda item are on standby and will be permitted to provide their testimony respectively. Moving to agenda item number 2, approval of minutes. These are the regular meeting minutes of October 1st, 2025. Board members, are there any comments or corrections to these minutes? And member Secretary Lidstone is here. Time is 11:28. Yeah. Seeing no corrections, the minutes are approved as presented. Agenda item, next agenda item. This is approval of the special meeting minutes of November 17th, 2025. Board members, are there any comments or corrections to these minutes? Seeing none, the minutes are approved as presented. Agenda item number 3 for informational purposes and discussion. This is a presentation by the principals of Kaze Power, formerly known as Kanoa Winds, regarding the key performance metrics of the vertical axis wind turbine installed at the Kalaeloa Heritage Park located at 91-1940 Coral Sea Road in Kapolei, and further described by Oahu Tax Map Key number 9-1-013069 in the Kalaeloa Community Development District. Mr. Robert Cundiff and Mr. Jason Pipopai of Kaze Power will now present the update. Please.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair Higa. Good morning, everybody. Members of the authority, both present and online. My name is Robert Cundiff. I'm with Kaze Power. Next to me is Jason Pipopai, also with Kaze Power. Do we know if we have the presentation to bring up?
Why don't you keep going?
Yeah, okay. We did, and hopefully it's within your packet. We did provide a brief presentation as to what we would expect to update the authority with this morning. This goes back to the end of 2024, when we came before this authority and got the approval to proceed with a right of entry to install a small turbine in the Entrepreneur Sandbox in Takako. So we appreciate that. We were able to install it in early 2025. And it has been operational for almost a year, about 10 months now. Information now is online. Some brief information on the technology is available. But because we're here for an update, we'll kind of jump into how the installation worked in Kakaako.
In Kalaeloa.
Oh, or Kalaeloa, sorry, Kalaeloa. So that'd be slide 15. I think it's for 13. 13. So the unit that we have in Kalaeloa is a 0.3 kilowatt unit. It was one of the original units that was developed by the developer in Japan. It was crated and brought over to Honolulu in 5 crates. They were in storage for about a year before we could, identify a location where we could put them up. In the process of working with HCDA, we identified 2 locations. The one out in Kalaeloa is actually at the Kalaeloa Heritage Park. And so we visited the site. We identified a location that made great sense for where we could install our turbine. There was a concrete pad already there that was used for, warehousing and different distribution going back some time now. The conditions were perfect for an installation on that pad, and so that's where we selected it. There is a perimeter security fence around it, and it can be secured, so it is secured at this site. And it is identified in your packet with that yellow outline. There's, I think, a green box that shows exactly where the turbine is currently installed. Go to the next, please. So we delivered the crates to the site. They were put in a storage container for a short period of time until we can coordinate installation with the people on site. Opened up the crates, checked all the conditions of the units themselves, identified exactly where on the pad that we were gonna put the turbine itself. Took the base unit, upper left portion is the base unit. On the upper right, you can see how we installed it. We drilled holes in the holes in the legs, installed bolts, secured them, and bolted it in place. There are 3 legs, and that was the base of the unit itself. We then proceeded to take the second piece and mount it on top of that base, and then the third piece. So there's 3 sections to the unit. It stands approximately 15 feet high. 22 feet high. It's got a circumference of about 4 feet. 4 feet. So it's one of the smallest units that were produced. It's really intended to provide some kind of charging power, auxiliary power for use of maintenance equipment and things of that nature out in Kalaeloa at the Heritage Park. They don't have any electricity out there, so as part of our agreement with HCDA and our installation of our Kakaako unit, we put a unit out in Kalaeloa for them to use for park purposes. Maybe the next one. So that just shows final installation. That's what the unit looks like on the pad, and then what it looks like kind of at dusk. We have it operating. The lights are on, showing that it is providing power. Anything you want to add?
So, the opportunity to support the Kalaeloa Heritage Foundation was brought to us from HCDA, and we're grateful to make that connection with that group. I think the ability to test this equipment just near the airport is a good opportunity to kind of see what the conditions are, and further support the organization to provide small amounts of power for either auxiliary lighting or charging of tools and things like that. So we're excited about having the unit there, and grateful for the opportunity to work with HCDA and Kalaeloa Heritage Foundation partners.
Thank you both.
You're welcome.
Members, comments or questions? Member Evans.
Well, comment. This is a really helpful, way to gain, information on how effective maybe a larger unit might be, especially since the footprint for this is so significantly much smaller than some of the wind turbines that use a very large circumference. Does it produce direct power or have some kind of an inverter in there to create alternating power? So it could be connected to a grid if it were larger and we're part of a power production, facility?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So within the system, it's got a series of equipment that is designed to balance both the solar and the wind power into a single control unit, and then we invert it into AC, and we're charging 48-volt batteries right now within the system. So the system is self-contained. It'll generate DC power, convert it to AC power, and there is AC plugs on the outside of the unit, so you can plug directly into it. So that is set up to do that.
Okay, and then does it smooth out volatility in the, wind speed?
Yes, so the equipment on the internal functions, we use a three-phase rectifier attached to a custom control module that is designed to both balance the fluctuating wind power and then the stable solar power into a single DC delivery to the unit.
And just to kind of complement that, the cut-in speed is about 3 to 5 miles per hour. And the cutout speed is in excess of 180 miles per hour.
Keeping our fingers crossed that we don't have to.
You know, I hope we never do, but the fact is that if we ever did get high winds, like in a hurricane, it's safe. It operates, totally fine, no vibration, and would be safe in high winds. Unlike other turbines that exist today, that have a high cut-in speed and a cutout speed. Typically at about 40 miles per hour, they'll cut out. Ours would operate in excessive winds.
Right. Does your company have any plans to propose perhaps a PPA to HECO to do a larger installation for Oahu?
We welcome that opportunity 100%. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Member Evans. Secretary Lidstone?
Yeah, my question is similar. Do you have any goals for maybe installing more of these within Kalaeloa? You've been here when you installed it, so you see the terrain. You can see where it can be really valuable in bringing power to places that don't have that right now because of infrastructure. Do you foresee that?
Yes, we'd love the opportunity to pursue any opportunity to set up systems that can provide renewable energy power and be off grid. I think that was one of the catalysts that started our association with HCDA, was us recognizing that Kalaeloa has, a power issue, basically. And, potentially using our technology to help be a solution in the region.
And how would that happen? Would organizations just contact you and then you would do an assessment on whether it would be feasible for that site?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So we've since we've installed the Kakako demonstration and the Kalaeloa demonstration, we have had numerous interests from different power projects around the state, and we've had the opportunity to begin evaluating what the system is going to look like in association with existing power projects, and that's both for individual offset within a commercial private property, and then potentially something that's a little bit more public facing. So we have been able to start examining those projects.
And I think the public facing element of that is one of the reasons why we wanted to work with Craig and ACDA relative to the installation of a unit in Kakako in an urban environment, to show that it does work well with normal urban activities. Because of its small footprint and its safe operation, environmentally friendliness, it does work well within urban environments, but it also can work well in rural environments where we could take, off-grid systems and apply that, wherever it makes sense. And, I will refer back to our presentation on the first 2 or 3 slides. It does give some information on the different size units that we have. The one in Kalaeloa and Kakao is our smallest units, really intended, to be like lights and small energy production. But as we move up in size, then they get into very big, large power production units that we use for, development of small grids or large grids and off-grid applications.
Great. Members, any other comments or questions? Member Strikes.
Thanks for the update. I noticed in your report, there was some data statistics provided for the Kaka'ako.
Yes.
I was just wondering if there was any difference in the Kalaeloa. So we've seen that Kaka'ako is more urban and Kalaeloa is rural, and it looks like that one is even like surrounded by.
Yeah, both sites are fairly coastal and we do have a lot of surrounding structures. And so I don't think either particular site was selected for its environmental conditions regarding wind. And so the Kalaeloa site, we do have gusts of winds, but we are within a little pothole. We have some fairly tall kiawe trees. And so it's fluctuating, right? We are getting pretty static power. But the results in Kalaeloa were much less interesting than Kaka'ako. Our focus was on Kaka'ako, and there's a really good reason for that. Our Kalaeloa unit, it was our first generation IP. And so the first generation IP is such been iterated into the second generation IP, which is now in Kaka'ako. And so the primary production will be focused in on that secondary blade design, which is what we see in Kaka'ako. And we see a significant larger power increase with that blade design versus the original unit. So we are collecting data on Kalaeloa, but for reasons of just our focus company-wise, our primary objective was to make sure Kaka'ako was really well observed and well calculated.
Okay, and then so the wildlife impacts that were like zero in Kaka'ako.
Yeah, that's right. It's the same there. So it does, regardless of the size, they have the same features as far as the design features. Its structural system is within a three-legged frame, keeping it looks like a single structure. So it avoids disturbance from flight-based ecology to recognize it as an open path when there might be a large horizontal blade coming. So I think that's the issue with the horizontal turbines that we avoid with our current design.
Thanks. Great. Members, any other comments or questions? Otherwise, thank you for the presentation.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We'll move now to public testimony. Is there anyone pre-signed up who wishing to provide testimony on this matter?
Not sure.
In present, online? Okay. Seeing none, we'll close public testimony on this item. Members, any final questions or comments? Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Agenda item number 4 is the report of the executive director. This is the monthly report and other status reports, including approved permit applications that did not require HRS 206E-5.6 public hearings. Executive Director Nakamoto will now present the staff report.
Thank you, Chair. Staff, the executive director report is at 4 of your packets, and in the interest of time, I will go over it, but available for questions.
Thanks. Members, comments or questions? Seeing none, we'll open for public testimony. Any signed up? Any online or in person wishing to provide testimony?
No, Chair.
Seeing none, we'll close public testimony. Thank you everyone on the Kalaeloa board and those who attended in person or on Zoom. This concludes our business for today. This meeting is adjourned. The time is 11:43 a.m. We will roll straight into our next agenda, which is the at-large meeting.